What are some of the qualities that you find most valuable in recent graduates and junior employees?
Well, you know, a lot of the work that junior people are asked to do is kind of analytical work. So I love it when someone can not only look at the data and organize the data, but really catch new insights in it and see the meaning of the data. And I think that's something that a lot of younger people are trained to do more so than people in my generation. And so that's one important thing. But then another one is having the courage, the fearlessness to really ask questions. So I don't like to have someone, no matter how junior, who just does what I tell them to do. Because if that were the case, I really wouldn't need someone with your qualifications, right? So never come back to me and say, oh, well, you told me to do it this way even though I disagreed, right? Always want to know your insights and what you have to say.
I read in your New York Times interview that you keep a card in your office of a girl that's holding up a boulder. And as the chief risk officer and vice chairman of Visa, you sometimes feel like that girl. How do you manage the stress of your job?
Yeah, actually, it's a picture of a girl like pushing a boulder like this. Little girl in a dress. Managing stress, I think there's two aspects to it. And I won't say I'm the world's champion at this, by the way. But the first is, at work, is really important to have a sense of humor no matter what. And to really enjoy interacting with the people around you. And so that kind of takes the pressure off because other people will kind of lift you up. So that's one thing. And then to take time to really savor your accomplishments or the accomplishments of the team, because then when the bad times are there, you have something kind of to fall back on. So that's the first part. And then the second part of my mind is you need some interests outside of work that'll just occupy you 100%, so that you just leave it behind. So the best one, in my opinion, is having children, because they're so demanding, right? You need to be there, or it could be your niece or nephew or something like whatever it is. But beyond that, maybe it's a passionate interest you have for music or theater or hiking or whatever it might be. But it's really important not to sacrifice those things.
We talked about you managing risks for all of Visa. I want to turn our attention to a different kind of risk. I'm pretty risk averse. When do you think is the best time in your career to take a risk, and when is it better to stay put?
Well, my own point of view on that is things don't come to you when you're ready. They come to you when they come to you. And so I would be hard-pressed to recommend that you turn down an opportunity at any time. So take that risk, unless, I guess maybe the one exception is if you're really in a financial crunch, you know, and you need that job, you know, maybe that isn't the ideal time to go join a startup. But other than that, if you think you can take the leap, I say take it.
What was the biggest risk that you took in your career?
From a career point of view, okay, not from a life point of view. From a career point of view, I was working at a law firm, and I had a child in middle school who I thought was kind of going a little bit sideways, off the rails. I was concerned about him. And at the same time, I had just become recently a partner at the firm, and I was needing to put in extra time to learn to do things I hadn't done much before, like marketing myself and the firm. And so I quit to stay home with my son. And I didn't have any particular thought or idea about what was going to come next from a career point of view.
That's a big risk.
Yeah.
You talked about your family and balancing that with your career. Do you think you can have it all?
Maybe you can't have it the way it would be if you chose one or the other. So you have to reconcile yourself to that and just enjoy both. I mean, to me, having both has been hugely rewarding in a way I don't think I could have experienced otherwise.
It's good to hear from someone who's been through it and says that you can have it all. The art of negotiation is a personal challenge for me, and one that I think a lot of female professionals find challenging. how do you make sure that you're getting what you deserve in the workplace without feeling like you're burning bridges?
Yeah, I think negotiation is much easier when you're negotiating on behalf of someone else, right? So I was a lawyer, and I was constantly negotiating for deals and contracts and all that kind of thing, but less so for myself. So I think I agree with you. It's harder for women, but I think the real trick isn't about burning bridges. It's just about taking that step, like we were talking about taking a risk. Ask for what you think you need or want, and don't feel embarrassed. That's the big problem, isn't it? Not so much burning bridges. I don't think you do burn bridges by asking for what you want.
It's just the perception.
I think so, yeah. I think it's a perception. It's I don't know, maybe a fear of not being liked or going one step too far, taking a risk. But I think you're right. I've heard many times that women ask less often than men for that thing that they need in their job, whether that be money or an assignment, important for career development, a rotation, a overseas trip.
One last question. What's your go-to fun fact? And I think before you say yours, it's only fair if I share mine. I'm a Kiwi citizen. That's my go-to. Yeah.
Only or Doyle?
Dual.
Okay. All right. So my go-to fun fact, by this point, most people at our company know what it is. But the fact is that one of my first jobs was as an airline stewardess for Pan American World Airways.
What led you to that?
I love to travel.